Good evening. There is three aspects of the korban, of the service of God through offering sacrifices. First, the word in Hebrew, korban, comes from the word karov, which means close, to come near. Meaning, through a korban, a sacrifice that we offer to God, we come closer to Hashem. The second aspect of the sacrifice is elevation. From below, we elevate ourselves, we come to a higher level, and this is symbolized by the part that is burned in the temple, in the altar, in the Mizbeach, and as it goes up in smoke, symbolizes elevation. And that's how something physical becomes spiritual. Now, the third aspect is the opposite, is amshacha, to draw from above to this world. Why? Because part of the sacrifice is eaten either by the Kohanim or by the person that brings the sacrifice. So this represents drawing down, internalizing something, because you're taking a food that is holy and you bring it down into a human, into yourself. You're eating it and becomes blood, becomes flesh, part of you. So in every sacrifice, we find these three aspects, but there is one type of sacrifice where you find it even a stronger way, which is the Korban Pesach, the Pesach sacrifice. Why? Because with every korban, as we mentioned, every sacrifice, you come closer to God, you elevate yourself. But Pesach, what does it mean, Pesach? To pass over, to skip, to jump, meaning that the person that is bringing the sacrifice is like he's jumping, he's leaping forward. What does it mean? When you walk, you always have a foot on the ground. You don't pick up your foot until the one behind was put down. When you jump, both your feet are in the air at the same time, meaning that you completely separate from what was before, and you can leap forward. You're in a whole new place right now. So this idea of coming closer to Hashem symbolizes that you're skipping towards Hashem. You're going at a very fast rate. Now, every sacrifice, there is a part that is burned in the Mizbeach, in the altar, and it's elevated, goes up. But in the Korban Pesach, in the Pesach sacrifice, not only the part that is burned, it's elevated, because the Pesach sacrifice has a requirement that all has to be tzli esh, has to be roasted. And this idea of being cooked in the open fire symbolizes even more the nature of open fire, that it goes up, a flame always goes up. Now, in every sacrifice also, there is a part that we mentioned that a person eats, most sacrifices. And this is the idea of bringing down into the physical. But in Pesach, it's different. It's much more powerful. Why? Because the whole idea of the Pesach is for the people to eat. And there is a whole preparation, how many people are going to eat it and where, and make sure that there is enough for every person, but nothing will be left over. So eating, it's very important. So all three aspects are stressed, are highlighted in the Korban Pesach. Now, there is three reasons why a person could not bring the Korban Pesach. First one, if a person has chametz, if he didn't clean up his house properly. Second, if he's tameh, impure. And third, if he's far, if it's not on the right place, you can offer the Korban Pesach outside of the Azara of the temple. Now, what's the chametz, leavened products, symbolize? Ga'ava, a strong ego, a person that pushes himself above everybody else, and God says about such a person, well, I can't be with that person. God says someone is so full of himself, I can't stand it. Meaning that a big ego pushes, so to speak, God away from you. So it's the opposite of the korban. Korban is to bring closer, and the person with this big ego is pushing, so to speak, God away. So if a person has chametz in his property, which represents, as we say, chametz, the big ego, of course he cannot bring Pesach sacrifice, that the whole idea is to come closer to Hashem. Tuma, impurity, is what interferes with the elevation towards Hashem. Now, Tuma, impurity, is something that the mind cannot comprehend. Why? As the Greeks will say, what's the difference between the pure oil and the one that they touch or they made impure? Physically, to the naked eye, looks the same. But there is a change in the spirit of the matter. When a Jew becomes impure, his soul goes lower, a spiritual descent. So, to bring the korban, the offer to Hashem, also you have to be in the Azara, in the temple yard. And this is a physical requirement, not a spiritual one. If someone really wants to be in the temple, just the one thing is not enough. In order to bring the sacrifice, he has to be physically there. So to be there in spirit, as people say, not enough. So not being physically there is the opposite of korban, sacrifice. Because sacrifice is to bring spirit into the physical, into the body. That's why if the body is not present there, you cannot bring the sacrifice. Nevertheless, God gives us a beautiful gift that all those who did not bring Pesach at the right time, God gives us a second chance, Pesach Sheni, that, as the sixth Rebbe said, there is nothing lost. Always you have the opportunity to fix. And in the famous phrase also, if you believe that it could be, something could be destroyed, someone could ruin something, certainly believe that could be built, that the situation can be fixed, can be improved, and knowing that, like the Yom Yom today says, when a person is sick and he gets a diagnostic and he knows and believes that he can heal, that he can get healthy again, that is already half a way to getting there. The will and the knowledge that he can get well and he wants to get well, this is most of getting there. So let's always keep positive, think good, and things will be good. Come close to Hashem, and Hashem will come close to you. Elevate yourself, and Hashem will elevate you. Bring God into your home, as we explained this morning, and God will be with you. And may we follow all these beautiful steps in coming closer to Hashem, in bringing sacrifices to Hashem, first spiritually, and then very soon, God willing, with Mashiach, physically, as we build the third Beit HaMikdash, should be able in Jerusalem to bring our sacrifices to Hashem. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to learning with you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Ben Ish Chai. Laila Tov.